Extra, extra, read all about it. It is now 85 seconds to midnight. On January 27th, 2026, the Doomsday Clock was set at 85 seconds to midnight, the closest the clock has ever been to midnight in its history. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, Science and Security Board, the SASB, which sets the clock, called for urgent action to limit nuclear arsenals, create international guidelines on the use of AI, and form multilateral agreements to address global biological threats. What does this mean? Well, we know that our current president sent warships to harbor outside of Iran, and the leader has gone into a bunker for protection. The Bulletin has reset the minute hand on the Doomsday Clock 27 times since its debut in 1947. Most recently in 2026, when we moved from 89 seconds to midnight to 85 seconds to midnight. Every time it is reset, we're flooded with questions about the international recognized symbol. And here are some answers to help you for your most frequent questions. So, what is the Doomsday Clock? The Doomsday Clock is a design that warns the public about how close we are to destroying our world with dangerous technologies of our own making. It is a metaphor, a reminder of the perils we must address if we are to survive on this planet. When the Doomsday Clock was created in 1947, the greatest danger to humanity came from nuclear weapons, in particular from the prospect that the United States and the Soviet Union, now called Russia, were headed for a nuclear arms race. The Bulletin considered possible catastrophic disruptions from climate change in its hand-setting deliberations for the first time in 2007. Who created the Doomsday Clock? Co-editor Hyman Goldsmith asked artist Marto Langsdorff to come up with a design for the cover of the June 1947 edition of the Bulletin, the first issue published as a magazine rather than a newsletter. Martel, as she was known professionally, was married to a physicist, Alexander Langsdorff, who worked on the Manhattan Project while at the University of Chicago. At first, the artist considered using the symbol for uranium, but as she listened to the scientists who would work on the bomb, as they passionately debated the consequences of the new technology and the responsibility to inform the public, she felt their sense of urgency. So she sketched a clock to suggest that we didn't have much time left to get atomic weapons under control. The graphic designer Michael Beirut reimagined the iconic image in 2007. Who decides what time it is? In the early days, Bulletin editor Eugene Rabinowitz decided whether the hand should be moved. A scientist himself, fluent in Russian, and a leader in the international disarmament movement, he was in constant conversation with scientists and experts within and outside governments in many parts of the world. Based on those discussions, he decided where the clock hand should be set and explained his thinking in the Bulletin's pages. When Rabinowitz died in 1973, the Bulletin's board handled the responsibility in 2008. The Science and Security Board was formally separated from the governing board and entrusted with the responsibility. Since that time, the Science and Security Board has met twice a year to discuss world events and reset the clock as necessary. The board is made up of scientists and other experts with deep knowledge of nuclear technology and climate science, who often provide expert advice to governments and international agencies. They consult widely with their colleagues across a range of disciplines and also seek the views of the Bulletin's board of sponsors, which includes 8 Nobel laureates. In 1991, with the end of the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union signed the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, the first treaty to provide for deep cuts to the two countries' strategic nuclear weapon arsenals, prompting the Bulletin to set the clock hand to 17 minutes to midnight. And you should know that our current president is more feared than Putin for destroying the world. If you want additional questions asked and answered, please go over to thebulletin.org/Doomsday Clock and read it, repeat it, share it, explain it with your children, and have them understand that they are now under attack. 85 seconds is a little more than 1 minute and 25 seconds. Not an awful lot of time. Now, is there? So please go over to our website, passionatworldtalkradio.com/blog. Read the summary, listen to this podcast, and most especially click on their link to take you into Doomsday Clock so you can get all your answers answered for you, because it's important for you to remember that we're only, ladies and gentlemen, and teenagers and young adults of all ages, 85 seconds away from Armageddon. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great evening.